This is the story of Shridev Jasnath, the founder of our ashram. The story is read by Yogeshwar Surajnath Sid, current spiritual leader, and Srijan Sita, director of Rajasthan Hatha Yoga Institute on the campus of Sri Jasnath Asan in Panchalasida, Nagaur district, Rajasthan, India.
Hamirji and his wife Marupade had enough money and everything they needed. Many cows and buffalo, but they did not have a child. In his middle age, Hamirji was a leader in the village and everyone knew of this void in his home. Because they were barren, Hamirji worried constantly that his lineage would end and there would be no one to inherit his wealth or care for him and his wife during their elder years.
People taunted them because they didn't have any children. So one day Hamirji was so frustrated he left his house and went to the forest. He began the austerity of fasting. One night when he was dreaming, Gorgnath appeared in Hamirji's dream and gave him instructions to go to Dabla Pond, where he would find a child.
Upon awaking, Hamirji rode a horse toward the pond. When he came close to his destination, the horse stopped and refused to move any further. So Hamirji was forced to continue to the pond on foot.
Approaching a large jal tree, he saw under one of the draping branches a small baby boy. And then immediately he noticed that near the boy was a snake and a lion. Hamirji froze in fear. He began praying to the Lord, pleading, "How can I get any nearer to the baby when there is a lion and a snake so close?" So he gestured Namaskar to the lion and the snake and invited them to please return to their own homes, saying, "And then I will be able to take care of this baby properly."
With Hamirji's request, the lion and snake moved away from the baby and further into the forest. Hamirji approached the baby and saw that he had 4 arms. Even so, he was thankful to the Lord for providing this child.
Upon closer inspections, he saw that the baby in fact had only 2 arms, and a great affinity for him grew. Hamirji knew this was his own baby, so he walked around the baby one time to lay claim to this new child and show gratitude to the 5 elements that brought him into being. Then he scooped up the baby and started cuddling him.
He mounted the horse with the baby and started off to bring the baby to his new home.
He gave the child to Ma Rupade. When she received the baby from her husband, it was love at first sight. Her maternal nature was so intense that her milk came in and she could nurse the child. Everywhere there was happiness for this little family, in the house and throughout the village.
As Jasnath grew, his parents began noticing he had a few strange abilities. When he was only 1 year old, while playing in the courtyard, he climbed into the fire. Mother Rupade witnessed this and was terrified. She pulled Jasnath out of the flame and was surprised to see that he had no burns on his skin.
A second miracle happened when Jasnath was 2 years old. He came to his mother and asked for milk because he was hungry. Ma Rupade pointed him to the milk pot, saying, "Drink as much as you want," and she went back to her chores. Jasnath drank 1 cup at a time until the big pot was empty.
A third miracle happened when Jasnath was 10 or 11 years old. There was two elephants from Bikaner estate visiting Katriasar. They were in the courtyard near the well waiting for water. After they had their fill of water, the elephants started fighting. The crowd went wild with drama and shouting. Jasnath was playing with his friends nearby. When they heard the shouting, he ran to the well and understood the problem. He separated the elephants and calmed the crowd. The elephants trumpeted loudly, turned, and returned to their forest.
Jasnath's life really took a big turn when he was 12 years old. A caravan of camel which belonged to his father had gone missing in the nearby forest. The distraught Hamirji hired the people who traditionally take care of camel to use their expertise in finding the valuable animals. When Jasnath saw the stress in his father, he offered to go to the forest and find the camel caravan himself, if Hamirji would grant permission. But Hamirji loved Jasnath so much that he denied the boy's request, fearing harm would come to his precious only son. But Jasnath persisted in his proposal until finally he received Hamirji's blessing. So Ma Rupade fed Jasnath and made an extra chorma, which is bread, sugar, and butter, and wrapped it in a cloth to take along on his journey.
चूर चूरमो फड़के बांध्यो हितकर माय जिमाया ऋणी मिंजण में हेड चरंती सोधन ने मुकलाया.
While Jasnath was searching, the camel caravan returned to Hamirji on their own without aid. But on his journey to search, when Jasnath reached Bagatali inside the forest, he encountered his guru Gorakhnath.
भागथली गुरु गोरख मिलिया जां जोगी भरमाया.
Gorakhnath initiated Jasnath by putting his hand on the boy's head, reciting a mantra in his ear, along with some truth.
काना फूंक शीस पर पंजो सतरा शब्द सुनाया.
Then Jasnath offered the churna that his mother had made to his guru Gorakhnath. They sat down together and enjoyed the lunch. Guru Gorakhnath shared his water with Jasnath, who enjoyed it, and then invited him to return to the village and meet his parents. Guru Gorakhnath accepted the invitation, and they set off together toward Katriasar. Just outside the village, Jasnath looked over his shoulder and saw that Gorakhnath was no longer following. Only the impression of 2 feet in the sand remained of his beloved guide. To stabilize this place where he had been last with his teacher, he planted his walking stick deep in the ground. With the power of yoga, it began to grow into a jal tree. He then sat down to meditate. He stayed there for 12 years. The place is called Gorakhmalya. The tree still grows in this place 520 years later. One day in the morning, Jasnath was watching the sunrise and looked away in the distance to see some goats. Their herders were businessmen from the city who had come to the village to collect retired milking goats to sell back home for profit. They had purchased the herd from various farmers, and now they were resting in the field, preparing to carry on with their journey home. Shridev Jasnath came to them and asked, "Where are you taking these goats?" The businessmen answered, "We will send them to heaven. Do you have any objection?" They could not hide their intentions from Shridev Jasnath. He understood the animals were destined for the butcher and refused to let this happen on his watch. Jasnath proclaimed, "You will not move these animals from this field, and I will not stop you with my body." The herders tried to cajole the animals to move, but the goats held their ground. Jasnath announced, "I will move from here now, and all the animals will follow." He turned and headed toward Gorkmalia in the high grounds on a sand dune, and all the goats trotted along behind. This was a great lesson for the herders about nonviolence and the need to practice spirituality in nature. Jasnath's bride-to-be was also a special girl. One day there was a wedding in a family nearby where Kalalde and Pyarlde needed to attend. They were getting dressed with beautiful gowns and jewelry, but they were taking too long. The family was late leaving for the wedding. So their father, Nepalji, went to their dressing room to inform them that they should finish their toilette and join the group who was departing. When he entered, he was shocked to see there was a lion lounging on Kalalde's bed. Nepalji froze in his tracks. He was able to move slowly backward to escape the room all in one piece. He ran to the departing group to get help, but found that Kalalde and Pyarlde were already embarking on the journey toward the wedding. He ran back to their bedroom to discover their bed was empty.
When Shridev Jasnath neared the completion of his life work, he instructed his disciple Haroji, "My time to depart is coming close. In the month of Aswin Sukla Saptami, October or November." He asked Haroji to go to Chulikheda and deliver the message to Jasnath's fiancée Kalalde that she must come to Katriyasar. Jasnath gave Haroji a mala to wear as a symbol of the importance of the message, so Kalalde would take him seriously. Taking his guru's command, he reached his destination quickly and gave the message to Sati Kalalde that she should come.
Sati Kalalde felt excited at the invitation to join her betrothed. She inquired, "How is my divine Jasnath?"
कहो सेनानी हरा देवरी, कहो कायमरी बात, किण पारे हरा रमरया, कहो हरा कुसलात.
Haroji replied, "Oh, my mother, Divine is always sitting in one place at Gorkmalia, meditating day and night."
एका आसन माता देवजी, भजन करे दिन रात, बैठा गोरख माली, भलकंते दीदार.
When she heard this, Sati Kalalde and her sister Pyarlde asked their brother for permission to depart for Katriasar. But the family was confused by this request because they didn't think it was appropriate to send Kalalde to the groom's home prior to the wedding. Then Sati Kalalde demonstrated a miracle to show her family that this was not a normal situation. She transformed a small, castrated young bull into a strong, healthy bull capable of pulling her carriage. The carriage was broken down and old, so she also transformed it into a beautiful new fancy cart.
When the family witnessed these miracles, they relented and permitted Kalalde and her sister Pyaralde to proceed with their plans. They took blessing from their mother and climbed into the beautiful new cart. They asked their brother Boyasji to ride in their carriage. At the time of departure, the entire Baniwal family was present. They wondered if they would make the appropriate decision for Kalalde. Instead of regretting their decision, they decided instead to follow the carriage to Katriyasar. And her brothers put their cars in front of Kalalde's. As they moved through the villages, many people witnessed the caravan and joined it. People of all social backgrounds, carpenters, barbers, Brahmins, shoemakers, ironsmiths, and more. 140 carriages in total comprised the caravan. रथ खड़िया है हुक्म सू कालल देरे साथ सांझ पड़ी जद चालिया बरती मांझल रात पो फाटी पगड़ो भयो आ भेट्या निकलंग पात. The respect and love for Kalalde was demonstrated in a lasting way throughout the many days' journey.
When Sati Kalalde arrived just outside Katriyasar with her family and the huge caravan, she sent Haroji to go and inform Jasnath of her arrival, and that he should now close the gap between them by meeting with her and her family where they had stopped. Haroji followed Kalalde's instructions to fetch Jasnath, but he could not find his divine guru anywhere around Gorkmalia. Upon hearing of Jasnath's absence, Sati grew upset, having come all this way only to have missed uniting with her divine Jasnath. So she called him with a poem, and he appeared when he heard. He gave satsang, a spiritual lecture, and darshan, being in the presence of a divine being, to all the people who had come. Jasnath then returned to his Gorkmalia and attained masamadhi, willing departure from the physical body. Following Jasnathji's and Kalalde's masamadhi, Pialde took up the leadership role for the tradition and the community, and today there are more than 70,000 followers of the Jasnath eco-spiritual tradition. Find us at srijasnathasan.org.